Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to make pack bait, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm using, and you guys should definitely be able to find this stuff on your own. So cream corn, sweet cream corn, very good. Just one can usually per batch, but depends on how much you're making. And then panko, just plain panko. If you got seasoned panko, it won't really matter. Carp eat everything. And then specifically your old-fashioned oats. And the reason why you use this and not the quick cooking oats for like oatmeal is because this stuff will last longer. And the way I mix it, I can add liquids afterwards to liven it up. So I'm going to start with adding my dry mix, which I'm going to do just, this is the base mix off of 1 can of panko. Alright, so I dump the whole thing in. I'm also going to dump in the whole thing of corn, but there's also something else I have to show you with that before I do it. And the rolled oats, I just eye it, but I know that it's about half of this container if you use 2 cans of panko. So about 1/4 of one of these containers with 1 container of panko. I don't know what that amount would be, but I just eye it. I like to have a lot of oats in there. But the oats do kind of float up sometimes, unless your pack bait's a day or 2 old. This stuff doesn't last very long. You've got maybe 4 days with it, depending on the weather in your area and time of year, moisture in the air. But I would say 4 days tops with it. Even when it gets fermented, for me, I still throw it. When using this, and most guys will make this stuff right on the river. I don't blame them, I do it all the time. But I forget a can opener all the time. So, you know, get a can opener for your fishing pack. And take my advice, even though I don't. But yeah, so the reason why I saved the corn for last is because the other thing that you can do with this corn, because it's the liquid, or whatever you're going to use as a source of liquid. Sometimes you use corn and you have to add liquid after. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, now I have 2 different glugs that I would use in this product. But I've got the pepperberry from Carp USA, and then I've got Bait Pros Scope X Squid. Now if I was catfishing, of course I'd go with the Scope X Squid. If I'm carp fishing, I'm going to go with the berry. If I'm carp fishing in springtime or fall, I could use either or. But we are going to use the, actually I am using this, so I gotta shake it. We're going to use the pepperberry because it's the middle of summer. It's August, my birthday's tomorrow actually. And yeah, the fruity stuff will catch more carp instead of catfish, but don't quote me on that because the catfish eat the fruity stuff just as much too. I mean, maybe not just as much, but they still eat it. So I'm just gonna dump, you know, tablespoon or a couple tablespoons in there right into the corn. And then you mix that in there so it'll evenly disperse your glug into all of your pack bait. Now you don't need a glug for your pack bait, but I have them to use, so of course I'm going to use some. But yeah, you guys can totally skip the glug if you want. When you do add it, just mix it up in the corn. And so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to steal this coffee spoon. And so I just mix it up and I'm going to dump the entire thing in there. And then if it's too wet, I'm going to add a little bit more of the old-fashioned rolled oats. If it's too dry, I'm going to bust out some more corn, or you can, you know, throw in a couple tablespoons of water, whatever you want to do. Alright, so I've dumped in all the materials now. I'm going to give it a little shake on its own, mix it around. I made a video on how to make the pack bait for you. So now I'm going to show you how I attach it to my weights, why I think it's a good choice versus PVA sometimes. So a huge thing with having Packbait is having a lid for the bucket. Like for example, right now it's raining, not much, but it's raining. So you'll get your Packbait soaked and then it won't work. It'll fall apart when you cast it. So you want to keep it covered. And then on the other hand, on a nice day, if you keep the lid off, it'll dry out. So you'll have to constantly add more water. So definitely recommend bringing a lid. And I've got some rods already rigged up. So I'm using release clips on my weights. You know, like a traditional carp weight and carp rig setup to a hair rig. I've got a double stack boilie, the pepperberry and the cocoa berry. Anyways, we're here for the Packbait. So I take a handful of it, and what I do is I flatten it on my hand. Then I take my weight. Now not all the line and everything, just the weight, not the slider. You want the slider sticking out, and I press it down into that, and I grab another light handful and pack it down over the top. And now my slide, my release clip slide for the weight is still sticking out, so the line can go through freely. And I'm just going to pack this really hard around the weight. You don't have to pack it super hard with this stuff because it's so tacky. Alright, so now with the rod I can pick up this bait. I can hold the bait up and I can cast it, and that's not going to fall apart. How you put it on the weight matters, because sometimes when you go to cast it or pick it up, it'll fall apart. Now another huge advantage of Packbait or PVA is you take your hook bait and you stick it in the Packbait. So then when you're casting out, your rig does not get tangled on the way out. Now when it's raining like it is now, sometimes my PVA breaks before I get it out there in the water, so I prefer the Packbait on a rainy day.